Hello everyone, my name is Madi Norris, and today I'll be presenting Music to Remember, which is my Springboard project I did this fall in Commerce, and I'm excited to present you guys my 3 songs that I made that I hope you listen to before the presentation, as well as some more just information on what I do with music, what really drove me to music, and what I really spend my time with. So this is my Springboard project. So a little bit more about me. I'm from Oxford, Maryland. I'm 17 years old. I'm a 4-year senior, a prefect. Some of my interests include music in general and making people laugh. But another fun fact about me is I'm actually tone deaf, which is something that not a lot of people know, unless you've heard me sing, of course. So, what is music to me? I'll start at the very beginning. Ever since I had my first CD player, I've never stopped listening to music. My first speaker was a pink, super cheap radio with a wire antenna, which I then had to tape to my wall in my bedroom. And then soon enough, I memorized all of my local radio stations, and then I became the best car DJ to have around. My music was my friend and kept me company when I was by myself, and as a young girl, I was alone more often than not, which music helped pass the time. I like to keep to myself, usually. If you know me now, I'm much more of an outgoing person. I like being around people a lot more than I used to. And when I was younger, I was also kind of like a weird kid. I don't know if you can tell from these photos, but I never felt fit in well with other people. But I would spend hours upon hours a day just listening to music because it just kept me company and I enjoyed listening. So where did I start making music? The summer before my freshman year, I was trying to fill out and figure out what fine arts I wanted to take, and I saw a mix of music, and I immediately knew that that's what I wanted to do. I remember getting to the class, I sat in between Bryce Mitchell and Sarah Norkabosh, who are both amazing artists inside and outside the world of music. And I remember Sarah would make this beat out of water drops. It was so like meticulous. It sounded amazing, but it was crazy how like much effort she put into it. And then Bryce also made this like amazing basketball court scene with just all these different sound effects and loops that GarageBand had, and I was so impressed. But I was also intimidated being surrounded by such amazing musicians and artists, but it didn't stop me from making more and more music. I would spend my evenings in the Bergen just working on music, and this passion continued to my sophomore year, where then I was like, I want to take mixed music too. And although this class was half the size as it was before, I had just so much more fun. I was able to just learn so much more about music theory, but I had a huge task ahead of me. I had to create my own song now, like from scratch. And I have zero musical experience. I was able to learn so much, and I was able to use this program called Logic X, which is just so much more in depth in the music creation process. And I was at the beginning of my process, I was a little lost in what I wanted to do. I know during that time I was listening to a lot of different artists such as Saba, Chance the Rapper, Jaden Smith, Tyler the Creator. And those artists and the genre of like indie rock, indie alternative music, those genres and that type of music helped me inspire my own type of music, my own voice in there. And to this day, I look up to these artists a lot. They have helped me define who I really am as a musician and as a creator. And here's some more songs that I really have inspired by, just by the style as well as just kind of like the meaning behind those different songs. The first song that I created by myself, so it was in mixed music too, was Lofo Love. I made this my sophomore year and in the springtime, and as most people in the class of 2021 know, who were there sophomore spring, they know just how amazing it was. But during this time, I do have to admit that all my friends were in relationships, and I was definitely very single, and I got out of relationships and I did not want to go into any more. So this led me to have some amazing weekend nights where all my friends were out with their significant other. And when I would go to the student center hoping to see my friends, I just saw all these couples, and a lot of them were people I knew, and they were my friends, but they were just right on top of each other. And this song was my own way of coping with being left alone or being forced to see PDA in the student center, just any time of the day. So it's definitely a funny listen. um, so my junior year, I created this song called Escape. It's actually one of my favorite songs I've ever made. Mr. Morgan asked me to help him with the Mercersburg podcast. They're looking to find an introduction song with an introduction song. And I agreed because I miss making music so much. And even though at the beginning we planned on splitting it, I just overtook it pretty much. I got back into the rhythm and I just fell in love with making it again. And Mr. Morgan definitely helped a lot in what I made to make it sound a lot cleaner, made more sense, but I was so happy with what I created, and this is probably my favorite song I've ever made. Okay, so what is my Springboard Project? So ever since my sophomore year when Ilya's class 2019, created a music album for comm arts while also being in my mixed music 2 class, I knew that I had to do comm arts. Even though I was planning on creating a larger album, due to time restraints, I decided to save myself the mental torment and create only 3 songs. These songs are also only instrumental as well due to code restrictions. My hope with these songs is to encourage reminiscing or reflecting to whatever emotion the music gives. Whether this be a time where you're joyful, sad, upset, or laughing, I want my music to be a guide to those feelings and thoughts. I hope to have poured my own memories into those songs in order to create an environment that allows for others to remember their past. So my first song I made is called Timeless. I was actually inspired by the song Ophelia by the Lumineers, and I was able to use their chord progression to create something that I felt really captured more of a playful and kind of deeper tone in a song. I wanted to stir up lingering memories and emotions. But my favorite part about this is the photo I used for the album cover is a photo I took during this year's Step Songs. I was amazed when I looked into everyone's eyes that I could see the fire reflecting so brightly in them that I thought it would just be perfect to use for this type of song. My second song I made is called Secluded. This song's purpose was for Mr. Bennett's and his Springboard Project, for Mr. Bennett and his Springboard. Although the song can feel monotonous, the goal was to make a song that relaxes and comforts the listener, as well as I found a genre during quarantine called bedroom indie, and I was really hoping that this song encapsulated the idea of just sitting in your room thinking about anything you ever want while listening to this music. And my third and final song was called Constellations. It was definitely the most difficult for me to complete. I started the song and I was so happy with how the beginning sounded that it was just so much more difficult to keep on going. But I was so thankful for Bryce, and she was able to be my fresh ears for every single one of my projects, no matter what I was doing. And I'm so thankful for everyone in the class who just helped me listen to stuff and give me feedback constantly. It really helped a lot, especially with supporting me and encouraging me to keep on working. So what was my process? This term had been a lot more difficult than what I'd hoped. At the beginning of the process, I felt very lost. I spent a lot of time not really working, just listening to music, trying to figure out something that would inspire me, but I just needed to motivate myself. I was very thankful for Mr. Bennett for reaching out and to create another song for a song for another podcast, and that's what I needed to push myself and start working. And with so much help from Mr. Morgan, I was finally able to feel confident with my music skills, and I started creating music that I thoroughly enjoyed. Overall, this process was much different than anything I've ever done before. I've only created about maybe 2 songs before this, and then I started making 3 by myself in such a short amount of time. I wish that Comm Arts was a full year class, because I know that now after completing those 3 songs, there's just so much more I could have done. And then I could have added so much to make it more thorough, more kind of full circle. And I'm just so thankful for Ms. Pixler and Mr. Morgan for helping me so much with my process, just working through with me, making sure that I'm doing everything I can be doing, and just taking the time to really look through me and my process. So I'm happy that my music process has started here at Mercersburg, and I will be continuing it hopefully outside of Mercersburg. So thank you guys so much for watching.